Welcome to the Pod in Your Basement podcast, featuring Ben DeLessio and Joe Garza. They're alive, they're hungry, and they're opinionated.
Hello there.
Hey, Ben. How's it going, man?
Hey, Joe. I'm fine, thanks. Let's talk about Pulse 2001.
Yeah, let's do it. All right.
I'm just kidding, but that is what we're discussing today. We're just going to do a regular movie review, thoughts. I wouldn't say this is going to be like a synopsis necessarily, but just our thoughts on this movie that we touched on last episode in liminal horror. And it looked really cool. It looked very scary from what little I saw, I guess, in clips and reading about it. To me, personally, did not live up to my expectations. What about you?
Yeah. It was definitely slower than I wanted. It had a handful of great moments, and there was one scene in particular that I watched a video essay on. That was terrific. So of course, I was like, oh, that is a creepy scene. I gotta check it out.
Yeah.
It had a few other creepy scenes, but it was kind of a slog. It
was.
But overall, it was. I would give like a partial recommendation, but
okay.
Yeah. Well,
I might be a little more negative, but so to set the scene, this is. I think I feel like I always say it's like one of my favorite settings, but it's true. I'm really into certain time periods and places. For instance, like New York City in the 70s.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah.
Japan in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's just because when I was first like acknowledging sort of artistic decisions in movies, I was 10, 11, 12 years old. You start to absorb, I wouldn't say acknowledging, but like absorbing certain things, and it just kind of sticks with you. And I still am, but I was really into Japanese culture as a kid. Mm. I feel like a lot of us were in the United States were born like middle millennials, whatever.
Yeah.
Japan was just Japanese culture, whether it was Pokemon or anime, or whether it was like horror movies or samurai stuff. Like it just really hit with a lot of us, especially us whites. So I was instantly hooked with the setting of this. I loved the look. Mm-hmm. I loved the cinematography, lots of like saturation, very gloomy.
Yeah.
Really just like a sad movie, just like a sad, depressed. Like definitely don't watch this if you're having a bad day, if you're feeling
yeah. I was surprised by that because I watched the scene and we'll get to that scene later, but I watched the scene out of context. I was like, oh, this is a really cool, creepy, unsettling movie. And like I said, it got some bits of that, but there was a lot. It was a much more melancholic and introspective film than I was hoping for.
Yeah, it was not so this is considered like a techno thriller horror, which I guess is a subgenre we haven't really discussed in and of itself.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of a recurring theme in a lot of Japanese horror films around this time, because The Ring was kind of a similar thing.
That's where I was going. Exactly.
Yeah. And this was during a time when the U.S. was starting to remake a lot of Japanese horror films. In fact, I have a list right here, if I can just rattle them off real quick.
Yeah.
So The Ring, The Grudge, Dark Water, Pulse was one of them. I didn't know that this got remade in 2006 in the U.S. The Eye, Shudder, Mirrors, The Echo, One Missed Call, and The Uninvited. All of these came out before 2010, by the way.
Yeah.
And one interesting thing,
those are all remakes?
Yeah, these are all remakes of Japanese films. And then one quick little fun little thing. I don't want to get political or anything, but One Missed Call, the American remake, was written by Andrew Klavan of the Daily Wire.
Okay.
The bald guy, are you familiar with him? You've probably seen him pop up.
I've probably seen him. Obviously, I know the Daily Wire, but
yeah. But yeah, he had a not very successful. I'm not necessarily knocking him because it's hard to make it in LA and stuff.
Sure.
but yeah, he has a few screenwriting credits to his name, and one of them is an American remake of a Japanese horror film.
Yeah, and this is just off the cuff. I feel like that's because the United States and Japan, especially during the second half of the 20th century into the 21st, like we are the cutting edge of technology.
Yeah.
And other countries have caught up. I think Korea, especially. That's why I think Korea is really just. I think again, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But I think to our generation, Japan was to us what Korea is for like Gen Z in terms of music and culture. And I like Korean stuff too. My mom, she listens to this. She loves Korean stuff. Like she watches tons of Korean shows, loves Korean culture. So anyway, so I think that's why there was so much, and Japan just has such a history of filmmaking.
Yeah.
My feeling with a lot of these, I think Japan might do them better overall, is that they're pretty hit or miss. I think The Ring is an exception. It's a pretty stupid concept when you if I just told you The Ring, and you'd be like, that's gonna flop and suck. But it's a really the Ring had a very profound effect on me as a kid. It's extremely scary. I was just that age. Actually, one of the scariest moments of my life was with this after seeing The Ring, or The Ring 2, maybe it was. My arm fell asleep the night I saw it, and then my other arm touched that hand. I didn't feel it, so it felt like it was another hand. It was bad. It was bad. One of the scariest moments of my life, self-imposed, self-inflicted. But anyway, So a lot of these movies, hit or miss in terms of plot.
Yes.
But in terms of setting, I think it's the best part of this movie is how it looks. It's what I also love. It's so charming how a lot of these movies, it's like the cutting edge technology that now is just so outdated. So much of the stuff is so silly. And that's, I think, the dangers of focusing on technology as your main plot device.
Right.
But the setting of this is really good. It's so gloomy, and I don't know if this was just when they shot this movie, but it feels like there's not sunlight in this movie. Just over, and it wasn't raining, right? Just overcast. And that is what express in a what's the paintings that I don't know. It definitely evokes a kind of melancholia.
Yes.
So that I don't know if I can recommend this movie. I haven't written my review for it yet. I really have been vacillating on it. I don't know if I can recommend it, but if you really just want to see something that might have some scares and it's a great setting, and looks interesting, then you can check this out. But getting into more of the plot, or thoughts about why we're here, the horror elements of it. Do you want to give some thoughts?
So this kind of falls in with some other similarly styled Japanese horror films where it's you have creepy people with jet black hair and pale white skin, and they're kind of ghostly and stuff.
Long jet black hair,
exactly,
covering part of their face.
So on the one hand, there were a few scenes where I was like, you're just kind of following the trend, but there are other parts where it was that's actually pretty cool. That's actually pretty creepy, where it's we have a nice contrast of a pale-faced person standing in the background against, and then you have something that's fairly familiar in the foreground. So there were times when it was used well, but there were other times where it felt kind of I know it was early 2000s Japan. That's, kind of
that's what you did.
Exactly. I mean, to me, it's kind of similar to in the early 1980s, the slash movies where it's okay, somebody with a spooky mask and they're running around with an axe. Okay. I know. Yeah.
Babysitters, latchkey kids getting picked off.
That
sort of thing. So there's kind of two parallel storylines between Michi, who's a girl, and I think it's Kawashima,
yes.
but I forget, like in Japan they go by the first name. But I heard him referred to. His name is under Ryosuke Kawashima.
Yeah.
He's a college student. We're both being haunted. And really, at its core, this is just a ghost movie. Like it's ghosts. It's that in between sometimes, that like not uncanny valley, but like the in between that exists between the living and the dead, like the real world and the whatever you want to call it, the world of the dead. And there's like that crossover. And that's really where this movie exists. Like, it's really where this plot exists. And by the way, this is in Tokyo. But the other best part of this movie, and then we'll get more into characters and things like that, is Tokyo itself as a character. And I didn't catch it right away. And I think had I done that, I would have appreciated it more. But one thing, probably the thing I loved most about this movie, are the lack of people. Like, this movie is empty and it's weird. And it's like Tokyo streets, one of the largest cities in the world, completely empty. A person there. And again, it's not a post-apocalyptic that you know of, that is like, okay, you know that these are the survivors and everyone else is dead, or some other being or something like that. That's typical. It's like, it's not explained. It's not like there are other people. There are other college students. There's a professor here. There's a florist there. But besides that, like, there are some random bystanders, but it's really an empty movie. And I'm curious how they even pulled that off.
Right.
I don't think this was that big of a production, but maybe it was. But it reminded me of a movie we talked about not that long ago, a few episodes ago, 28 Days Later.
Oh, yeah.
Like those like London streets that are just empty. But in those, at least, you know what's going on. It's empty, but it's also filthy, and there's debris everywhere. Like, you know that something happened. It's not the case here. It's just eerie, unsettling, sparsely populated streets.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that was done intentionally. And if so, that I think it is kind of a nice little artistic stroke. Because, you know, you're right. Like, I mean, I've never been to Japan, but I mean, like, and definitely not Tokyo. But I mean, you know, so many of depictions of Tokyo are, you know, bustling streets and neon lights, and it's very bustling and all that. And this is just like a more working class, I guess, portion of Tokyo.
I have been to Tokyo, and it is, I mean, it's a megalopolis, and a lot of it is just kind of, you know, what's Tokyo? Well, there's like Shinjuku and Shibuya and Minato, and then there's like other areas I consider Tokyo that, and I don't, like, this doesn't take place in Shibuya or something. Like, this is one of the more residential and some industrial parts of Tokyo, but it's intentionally sparsely populated. Like, that was part, because that's part of the plot, is what's actually going on here, which I don't know if we want to get into spoilers. I think we can hold off a little, in case, because I don't think this is that well known of a movie. I think you probably have to be either you were into horror back then, or you're just like a horror aficionado. Like, this isn't The Ring, for instance, that I think a lot of people know of. But so the movie starts on a ship, and then we're kind of transported to just a young girl, not young, like I would say early 20s.
I think they're all college age.
College age, living and the apartments are so small. Oh my god. I always forget that. It's just how they live there. And right away, like, what I liked about this movie is, pretty quickly, this isn't the typical ghost story where it like takes a while to get into it. Like, pretty much right away, you know that you can't trust your eyes all the time, because Michi, speaks with a friend, Masatoshi. I believe it's Masatoshi. No, that's the actor.
Taguchi.
Is it Taguchi? Yeah,
the dude, right?
Taguchi. Yep. Taguchi. Sorry, not Toshio. Taguchi, and he has hanged himself in the apartment. But she was just speaking to him, right? So what happened? Like clearly, yeah, it's a ghost story. So from there, it's kind of just these two characters trying to figure out what's going on and using, and this is all through, like I said, it's techno horror. It's all through the internet. It's all about like seeing kind of internet 1.0 videos, like creepy stuff that you'd see on, what was it, like Faces of Death?
Yeah,
like that. It's that kind of vibe. It's grainy.
Yeah.
It's slow moving. The connections are terrible.
Right.
There
very
is
pixelated.
Very pixelated stuff written on the walls. You know, very creepy. There's a moment I want to talk about that I did laugh out loud. That was really bad. Like really, really bad. We'll get to it, but yeah. So you can imagine where the story goes from here. It's following two characters that are constantly being haunted, and then like on
these are two separate storylines too.
Yeah,
right?
they're parallel story. Right, exactly. Then they do connect.
Towards the end,
yeah. Like I said, it's I'll call him Kawashima and Michi, or Kawashima's a male, and then he's also being haunted, and people are sort of getting picked off. But this, I think one of my issues with Pulse is that it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't lean into it. And I suppose some people would like that, but it kind of like edges. You know what I mean? Like the scene, I think a perfect example of this is one of the other male, not Kawashima. I think it's Toshio, but don't hold me to that.
Yeah.
A short-haired male, because Kawashima has long hair.
Yeah.
Short-haired male. Oh, and then there are these forbidden rooms. And do the characters listen to the warnings of not going in the forbidden rooms?
No,
they don't.
Right.
They go in the forbidden rooms. And there's and I don't know if this is what you were referring to, but there's a encounter with a ghost, a female ghost, kind of like what you were describing. And you're like, okay, here it comes.
Yeah.
This is going to be freaky. This is going to be Ring distorted face type shit.
Yeah.
And he's cowering and hiding behind a couch. You see the fingers, creep over the couch, and head comes over, and then he just leaves.
Yeah, it cuts away. So you think, so at first you're sort of like, oh, did he die? Did he get turned into a ghost? Whatever. And then he just shows up later on, and now he's kind of moody.
Yes, he's moody. He's like, well, that just ruined my day.
But I will say that scene, the lead up to it was terrific. He's at this in this forbidden room because isn't he there like investigating?
Of course he is, because that's what you have to do. You have to go investigate.
And so there's this long hallway, and at the end of it, there's this ghostly woman, pale skin and long jet black hair, and then she starts kind of not walking, it's sort of ambling, but like it's almost like balletic in a way, but it's
that is
almost
the same
kind of slow motion.
Okay, I was going to talk about that. That's the same one.
Yeah. And she's gradually coming closer, and I thought the score was great because it's just like an opera singer, like a female opera singer, just singing like a really discordant piece of music. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. It's getting, and she's coming closer, and then and he's cowering behind the couch. And it's funny, he did this thing where it almost seemed like he was paralyzed from the legs down because he just kind of crawled over the couch. And okay, that's kind of goofy. I don't know. That wasn't really explained at all.
But hold on. And then, and she does some, I don't even know what to call it. Some like
sachet.
Sachet, some weird thing.
Yeah.
That again, like you think I'm like, oh, this woman's gonna start crawling on the floor.
Yeah.
Something really creepy.
Yeah.
You know, some sort of shoulders popping out of their sockets. You know, unnerving thing.
Yeah.
And she doesn't. She just
Yeah.
does like a weird walk, like something out of the Ministry of Silly Walks.
Yeah.
And then to get like finished and scares him. And I'm like, okay, that was creepy and weird, but not very satisfying. And I felt like that was a big moment. Like I felt like that was supposed to be a big moment.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
No, yeah, no, you're right. It's weird and it's atmospheric and it leaves a lot unanswered. But it's very inconsistent with how the other ghosts operate too.
Yes, so that's exactly what I was gonna say.
So
it's not consistent.
Yeah, exactly. So she's the only one who does this weird spooky sachet thing. All the other ghosts just kind of just stand around, or like they'll just pop up or something. That was the only. So, and like I love a good mystery. I love a good Lynchian sort of. Hey, this weird thing just happened, and I'm not going to explain it, and it's just sort of part of this weird. But the overall movie is not weird enough. It's not abstract enough to justify something like that. So I'm like, there is like an attempt of there being some kind of coherence here. I'm all for a good mystery, but there should be a little bit of something of like, how come is there a history behind her? Is there what could have been a deeply unnerving mystery, which just kind of leads to a bit of a creepy little head scratcher. You're like, okay, that was cool and weird, but I don't really know why that happened, and it's never explained or even hinted at or anything. So I thought the video essay that I watched was did a much better. It built it up to be much more momentous than it actually was in the film.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and the fact that the kid didn't, he left. He just walked out of the apartment later on, moody.
Yeah, and he's just kind of chanting, and they hint at some sort of. Like, did you catch the connection with the moving dots on the desktop screens?
Vaguely. I mean, so yeah. So a little bit of context on that. So the other main character,
Kawashima.
Yeah, Kawashima.
Yeah.
He's got the hots for this this nerdy college chick. She's like a computer science major or something, and she's working on some program, and it's like a blank black screen, but like these white dots, and they're all kind of going close to each other, but then they dart away from each other, so it's kind of hypnotic. And he sees this and he asks her what it is, and she goes, oh, it's this thing that we program. If two of those dots touch each other, then they automatically like disappear. They get deleted. But the farther away they move from each other, then the more they're drawn to each other. And I at first it was like, okay, it's heavily hinted that she's a very lonely person, so maybe she's using her computer science nerdy stuff to like kind of explore, I don't know, connections and stuff like that, I guess. Mm-hmm. But then there was something else too, where she made a comment where it seemed like that program was. Because it starts acting weird and it starts acting in a different way later on. So I was like, oh, are the ghosts coming through that program that she made? But that didn't really pay off either. No. Yeah, I don't know. I
thought, like, is this supposed to be some sort of metaphor, or is it actually more connected to the plot? And it's, at least I didn't think it was ever explained, or not that everything needs to be explained, but it didn't really provide anything. What a weird, like, why would you even create that program? Like, what does that do? I don't know. It just seemed like one of those things that you throw into a movie because, like, to add some sort of puzzle or something, and it didn't really do it for me.
I other than kind of tying into the overall theme, I guess, of loneliness and connection, but even then it still felt disconnected. It didn't feel like it revealed anything about her character or anything about like the mystery of the ghosts and what they want.
Well, I wonder because I do think, to take this movie in context in the country that it comes from and the time period, like I was wondering if this was prescient of like the otaku. Are you familiar with like otakus?
No, what's that?
It's like this kind of, I haven't looked this up in a while, but I believe it's like it's typically males who just kind of like disconnect from society and become in Japan and really just like it's like gamers, but like really intense, where they have very little connection to other humans. They kind of just have food delivered to them and play video games.
So this is like a proto incel.
I think so. I think it's a little more innocent. Like I don't think it's angry tweeting message board type stuff.
Right.
But I mean, it could be, but it's more of just like intense, severe loneliness and disconnection. And incel type behavior. And I wonder if this was like, I don't know if this was already happening in Japan,
right?
But if it was, I think the kind of technological revolution of this time period may have accelerated it or created it itself. I don't know, but it seems like that could be part of this.
I wouldn't be surprised at all because there is a moment when that the computer science chick goes to that dude's house and then she asks him, which seems like such a quaint question to ask somebody in the early 2000s. But she asked him, "Hey, so are you into the internet?" And then he goes, kind of, not really, but I don't know. And like everybody knows on the internet.
Are you into the internet?
Yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if even then, in Japan, like, people were kind of starting to notice, like, people are spending, young people are spending more time on their computers rather than out and about.
Well,
surprised if there's that.
Yeah, but like a part of Kawashima's characters, he's not like a tech guy. He's an engineer, I think, or economics.
Economics. Yeah. She's the awkward.
She's like so he's like asking questions of computer science, which I feel like is a pretty outdated term now too, right? Like, is that still a thing, computer science?
I think so. It was back when I was in college, but that was like 15 years ago, so I don't know.
Yeah, me too. I don't remember. It feels like computer science is a very like 2000s term. But regardless, so he's asking questions that so he's kind of figuring it out. And part of me, like, he does just kind of unplug everything at some point.
Yeah.
Which I feel like would be the more understandable response to this. And so anyway, a couple more things. So before I get into some of the bad stuff that I really didn't like there's a couple bad lines, and that could be translation,
right?
But I don't know. Like,
and just for clarification, we got this. We watched it on Pluto, which is free. So
we watched on Pluto. So I did like. This sounds great, but I mean, it's a horror movie. Remember when the girl jumped off like a silo?
Yeah.
I found it really interesting that they didn't cut away and it was just one shot.
Yeah, I'm curious how they pulled that off in 2001.
Yeah, very interesting. Shocking. Typically, that would be a cutaway, and that might have been one of the scariest parts of the movie, to be honest. But
yeah, because I mean, so digital stunt doubles are still being used today. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they pulled it off with one shot, and I cannot see the seams. I remember seeing that, because exactly like you expect, for it to cut away when they're halfway down and then cut to a stunt person landing on the ground or something like that.
Sure.
But it's all in one shot, and I did not see like, oh, that's where they use CGI, or that was a CGI body or something like that. I couldn't tell where the stunt ended and where the CGI, if there was any CGI used. So that was a cool shot, and it was a pretty shocking moment too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a woman who's so red tape is a recurring, which kind of stands out
Yeah.
in the movie because there's not a lot of color.
Yeah.
Really, it's like in the florist where Michi works.
Yeah.
There's like a scene or two in an arcade, and yeah, this woman, and she's wearing a red dress, I believe, like taping the edges of a door, like the four edges of a door with red tape. Those are the forbidden rooms. Then she goes and kills herself, which, again, none of this really, like, I don't know. It all felt kind of disconnected as to like what is actually happening, and the payoff wasn't very satisfying. Let me see my notes here. So I did take some notes after. Yeah, I mean, the ghost. What do you make of when? Do you remember when Kawashima's in the library and a student comes up to him and there's like a ghost hiding partially behind a bookshelf?
A kid.
Students, like a kid, like a young boy, and the students just like, oh, you see him too?
Yeah,
like he's like, go try and catch him or something. I was like, wait, what? Like, what do you make of that?
So I thought it was kind of cool at first because you're like, oh, like, is that actually a ghost or is it just a random person? Is it just like the way it's framed? Because there are often false scares in movies. So then the music starts to ramp up, and then a fellow student comes by and goes, "Oh, you see it too." Even that moment, I was like, "That's pretty interesting for like just someone just casually recognize." Oh, you see that entity as well.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting, but then this is where ghost movies start to annoy me, where it's like, okay, so it's clearly a supernatural entity, it's clearly a ghost or something, or spiritual force, something along those lines, and then he goes to chase after it, and then it runs away. Like, why would you as a ghost? And then he goes to the aisle where the books, where the kid was at, and then of course the kid's gone. The ghost kid is gone, and that's where like ghost logic, it really annoys the hell out of me.
I know.
So, like, I'm going to appear for a little bit, and then run away. Like, I don't know why a ghost would do that. And it's the sort of ghost logic that you see in a lot of haunted house movies that really does piss me off. So that was a moment where I'm like, okay, you had some original scares here and there, then you just got lazy there.
Right. Yeah, that was just weird. Like, that's another one of those moments that to me, it didn't really fit the tenor of the movie. Like, here you have this really drab and dreary movie. Everyone's just kind of quiet and unnerved, and then you just have like the college kid was kind of like chipper.
Yeah,
like, oh, you see him too, like,
and it is the exposition dump and the
and it was another really strange moment to me. Was like the next scene or two after Michi sees Taguchi in the beginning. Taguchi, like, she's just witnessed a dead body, like someone like a friend kill himself.
Yep.
And like a scene or two later, her friend Junko comes up to her and she's like, kind of like gives her an elbow and or something, says like, why are you so gloomy? I would be like, wait. And it's not like Junko knew about Taguchi's suicide.
Yeah,
it's not like she didn't know. Like, she
did they all work together or something? Or
they all worked together, and she knew that he killed himself. And she's like, "Why are you so gloomy?" I'm like, "Because when has someone killed himself?"
Yeah, I was hoping that the movie might carry the weight of these deaths a little bit more, like, and the fact that they're so mysterious. You think that there would have been a little bit more, like, I don't need to see like a police interrogation or like her explaining to the authorities what she saw or something like that, or her like weeping constantly, but at least like give a little bit of an indication, like, scene or two acknowledging her friend's death. And this happens a number of times where characters will die, and then it's sort of like, oh, darn it, and then it's just sort of like there's that meme of that British guy where it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh no. Anyway, yeah, great gift.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there's one other scene, one other moment, I should say. I actually laughed out loud, dude. This was at the end, one of the big hauntings. If I remember correctly, I only watched this a couple of days ago, but still, remember correctly, it was like a ghost approaching one of the characters. I can't remember who. Again, this is like a big moment, and it's all fuzzy, and there's there's the score, the music's playing, and it's creepy, and it's a big scare, and you hear an effing dial-up noise.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, this is towards the end, right?
This is at the end. I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
I was like, that aged so poorly.
Yeah.
Was so unnecessary that it just completely took me out of the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt similar.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it got to me quite as much as you, because I was like, okay, I get it. It's tied to the internet.
I was like, are you shitting me? They just did a dial-up noise.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, because the ghosts are internet based, but like, I kind of, but yeah, but it's also like, it was heavy handed, and it was also just sort of like,
I don't know, maybe it'd be too harsh, but I legit laughed out loud.
I mean, it's like if you made a movie where anybody who receives a mysterious text dies, in a crazy way, and then there's a big confrontational moment, and you're standard like iPhone text sound or ringtone or whatever.
Yeah.
And where you're just like, okay, I know, I get it. Yeah. Okay. The tone and the atmosphere of the film are terrific. And I enjoy melancholy with the movie, but it was a little too. I thought like the budding romance could have been cut because that was really slow.
Between who?
The computer science chick and the other guy.
Yeah. How do I? Yeah, she. I guess, are we doing spoilers? I mean,
yeah, might as well. The movie's been out for 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, she just kills herself.
Yeah. And they there wasn't enough substance to the relationship for me to like feel the tragedy of it. Like, I know she was lonely, but then all the other ghosts are lonely too. Yeah, I don't know.
So the ghosts, you don't need. Like, I have a note here. It's like they don't maim or mutilate anyone. Like, nothing happens, which is fine to an extent. Like, not every horror movie needs to be gross and gory and bloody and disturbing like that. But then I think it needs to be more impactful, like psychologically.
Right.
And I guess that's what they were going for. You had people killing themselves. But I don't know, man. It just didn't hit for me.
It also wasn't clear to me exactly like what the I'm gonna use an annoying like Silicon Valley tech word, but it's like I wasn't exactly sure about what like the workflow of the suicide was, where it's like you see this thing on your computer, and then I guess it shows up in real life, but then some of the people would kill themselves, and some of them would just disappear, and then some of them saw one of these ghost things, but nothing happened to them. So I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Like, the bodies kind of just evaporate and leave a stain.
Yeah.
And then at the end, we're doing spoilers, so F it. Like, Kawashima just dies.
Yeah.
But how?
Right. At least with something like The Ring, where it's like you get this mysterious phone call, or you watch the movie, then you get the mysterious phone call, and then you have 7 days where it's like, okay, like I don't need to hold. It doesn't swing the whole logic. At least it was consistent.
It's so crazy to me. You're doing exactly what I said. Like when you explain the ring, it sounds so stupid, but it's good.
Yeah, it worked. Whereas with this, where it's like, sometimes the entity will appear on your computer, and sometimes it'll show up in real life, and sometimes when you see it, it'll kill you. Like you will kill yourself later on, but we don't. But it's not really consistent. But that's or you just won't die at all. So I don't know. It'll just scare you and make you chilly for a couple hours.
It was sort of like, okay, if each, like, the ghosts it's way more psychological than it is physical. Fine, that's totally cool.
Yeah,
but how come? And then, like we said, you have these parallel storylines. We have Kawashima and Michi.
Yeah.
At the end, they both go through very similar experiences.
Mm-hmm.
They both encounter ghosts. They both witness people kill themselves, whether it's on the internet or in person. How come Kawashima just kind of evaporates and Michi is okay? Like, she continues on.
Yeah.
And the ending is they're on a boat going to Latin America for some reason.
Yeah.
And like, why does she, like, it didn't, there's nothing that told me, unless I missed it, that was like Michi could handle this. She had the fortitude for it, or whatever. She had something else going on in her life, because it all seemed similar to me. Like, all the characters were in similar situations.
Right. So it probably didn't need multiple, the dual storyline. This could have been whittled down to one, I think.
Totally. Yeah, definitely could have been, or just the two of them always together figuring things out. Like, that it didn't seem like Michi, to me, seemed like the better main character to follow, and Kawashima, I think, could have been more of a supporting role. Nothing against the actor or anything. It just seems sort of unnecessary, and
yeah, no, definitely, and it probably would have lent a little more weight to their characters. Put more attention to a smaller group of characters rather than splitting it up across two storylines. It probably would have had more impact when a character died or turned into dust or turned into a stain. But it felt kind of low stakes. And when it's revealed that these ghost things are taking over on a much larger scale, it didn't have any weight for me. It didn't have like, shit.
It didn't. And it was like, where were the news broadcasts about this? Where were the shocking paper headlines? Where were the, like, at the end, there's just a plane that falls out of the sky?
Yeah. And you brought up a good point about like how the portrayal of Tokyo seems very sparse. Like, it doesn't seem very populated. So when you finally get to the point when in the movie when these ghost things have taken over Tokyo, you're just kind of like, yeah, but there wasn't that many people here to begin with. So
exactly. If it was like bustling and lively in the beginning, and then it gradually got slower and more sparse and kind of creepier, that would have had more of an impact. But it was like, and maybe this is us missing some sort of cultural commentary because we're not Japanese, but that, to me, when you see a movie, like, that's what it's going for.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, if you get it hits.
Right.
If you don't get that commentary, then you're not going to enjoy it as much. It's just not really going to make sense to you. So that's like my more generous interpretation. But I have nothing to back that up.
Yeah, no, and there again, there could have been some translation errors. Maybe there were some like radio broadcasts playing in the background that did not make it to the bottom of the screen.
Good point.
Maybe some newspaper things that didn't get translated. But yeah, it just felt and also it like the movie is very contained, so it just kind of, I don't know, like the movie is kind of monotone. So it just didn't have a big impact when it's like, oh, these things have taken over Japan, we got to get out of here. It just felt very low stakes. So
yeah, And lastly, because I think I'm comfortable to wrap up soon. I don't think we need to force it, but also this movie's just a downer. Like, that it's really just death equals eternal loneliness.
Right.
Which is really sad, and it, I don't know. To me, it was like, you're gonna give us that, just this dour hour, and I'm gonna check forever.
I mean, it's almost 2 hours long. It's basically 2 hours long.
Yeah, it's 2 hours long. With the ads, it was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But that's not the movie's fault. But like a 2 hour long movie, and then just be like, yeah, and as crappy as all this was, when you die, it's worse.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what I would care.
Yeah. It had a few cool, creepy moments that I thought were pretty unique. But it's a 2 hour long movie. In fact, most of the scares happen within the first 30 minutes. I think I enjoyed the first 30 minutes pretty well. I thought that it did a pretty decent job of kind of getting right to the supernatural elements.
It did. Yeah, definitely the back half was more of a slog.
Yeah. So I don't know, but if you're going through an emo time in your life, this movie might resonate more with you. Or if you're someone, it's not a very violent or graphic movie. So if you want something you want a horror movie that's more introspective and not as explicit, you might enjoy it. The handful of genuinely pretty cool scenes are pretty sparse. They're there, but they're kind of few and far between.
I don't think I can recommend this.
Or if you know more about Japanese culture, maybe you can. Maybe there's a little more.
If we missed something, let us know. Like something big that would help explain it. But
comment in the comment section below. If there's something that we missed, if there's something that we just missed, or maybe the translation wasn't very good. Maybe there's a better translated version out there. Let us know, and we'll look into it. You pointed out some other inconsistencies that I didn't quite pick up on. So and also this one's been sitting on my list for a while, and it did not live up to my expectations.
No, it seemed. I thought it was going to be really scary.
Yeah,
and it wasn't, but that's okay. It was meh. That's where I am right now. I'm probably going to give it in like the mid 50s. I think. We'll see. Which is not a recommendation.
Right.
All right. Well, anything else before we wrap up?
No, but if there are any other interesting horror films not from the West, let us know. We're happy to give it an American look.
Always feel free to give us recommendations, and if they look interesting or good to us, we'll check them out. It's one of our favorite things to do is to check out like lesser known movies, especially horror movies.
So that's it, everybody. Go back to your basement, and we'll see you in your basement.
See you in your basement. See you in the basement, Joe.
All right.